Most golfers think the key to playing better golf is simple. Hit it farther, swing faster, get more distance. And every single day, golfers are chasing speed, chasing ball speed, chasing club speed, chasing launch monitor numbers, while their scores stay exactly the same. But this week, the PGA Championship exposed something that Golf Reboot has been talking about the entire time. Because while everybody was obsessing over the bombers, while everybody was talking about Rory, Scotty, Bryson, a guy averaging under 290 yards off the tee absolutely dismantled one of the hardest golf courses in the world. And the crazy part, he did it by embracing the exact things most golfers avoid. Today, I want to show you what the PGA Championship taught us, why most golfers completely misunderstand what lowers scores, and how something as simple as changing the way you practice with a launch monitor can completely change your golf game, just like it did for me. Because this is bigger than just tour golf. This is about the distance trust gap and distance profiles. And if you don't fix that, your game stays stuck. So how did the PGA Championship expose golfers' biggest mistake? So let's talk about Aaron Rai. And honestly, Aaron Rai is the perfect golfer to prove the Golf Reboot full bag framework works. Not because he follows us, because he's a pro, he doesn't, but because it's basically what he does. Not because he's flashy, not because he's the longest, not because he swings out of his shoes. Actually, a lot of him is the complete opposite. This is a guy who averages around 288 yards off the tee. So for all of you out there saying that you hit 300 but you really don't, he doesn't. He just won. You don't have to. That means there are literally over 150 players on professional tours who hit it farther. And yet at Aronimink, one of the toughest setups in championship golf, where others were complaining about this or that, they didn't like the setup, they didn't like the pins, he went out and posted 9 under par on the week. Ahead of Rahm, ahead of Justin Thomas, ahead of Rory, ahead of Scotty. And meanwhile, some of the longest hitters in the world were missing cuts. Tommy Fleetwood, gone. Akshay, gone. Bryson, gone. Now here's where most golfers completely miss the lesson. The average golfer watches professional golf and thinks, well, if I could just hit it farther like the tour guys. But that's not what actually separated players this week. What separated them was control, predictability, a repeatable distance profile. Knowing exactly what shot they had, knowing exactly where their miss was, knowing exactly how far the golf ball was going to go. And Aaron Rai is basically the poster child for this. He's different. Not different like Bryson, different, just different. He wears 2 gloves. In an interview, he said he did that because he used to practice so much he would practice all winter, and the gloves kept his hands warm. And he feels like he gets better connection with his clubs. He uses iron covers because growing up, his clubs were so important to him and he knew that they were expensive. He wanted to keep them nice. Disciplined routines, extreme precision, very structured. A lot of golfers laugh at players like that because normal golfers have this weird belief that looking cool matters more than shooting lower scores. And honestly, that mindset is destroying the game of golf. Because the golfers who improve the fastest are usually the ones willing to do the boring things consistently. Not the golfers chasing one magical swing thought every weekend. Not the golfers trying to gain 25 yards overnight. Not the golfers swinging 110% trying to become the next Bryson. The golfers who improve are the golfers who build trust with their game. And that's what this channel has been about from the beginning. Your scores are not controlled by your best shots. They're controlled by your most predictable shots. That's the difference. And this is where most golfers fall into what I call the distance trust gap. The distance trust gap is the space between how far you think you hit the ball and how far you actually hit under pressure. Most golfers don't realize how massive that gap is because they remember that one perfect shot, that one flushed 7-iron, that one drive with the wind helping, that one pure shot downhill. And then they build their entire golf strategy around their absolute maximum. That's why golfers constantly come up short. That's why they short side themselves. That's why they hit greens on the range but can't transfer it to the course because they don't actually know their distance profile. Tour players do. Aaron Rai absolutely does. And the PGA Championship proved it matters more than raw power because at a place like Aronimink, missing in the wrong spots destroys you. And when pressure increases, your hero golf disappears. Your stock shot is what survives. And that's why I've always said your golf swing is not your golf game. Your decisions are your golf game. And most golfers make decisions based on ego instead of reality. Wrong tee box because they want to say they hit from the tips. Wrong club because they want to say they hit each one further. Wrong expectations, wrong targets, which brings me to something really important. Aaron Rai also represents something else that I think golfers need to hear more often. Appreciate what you have, because golfers spend so much time frustrated about what they don't have that they never maximize the tools they already do have. You may not swing like Rory. You're probably not going to hit it 330 yards. You may not generate tour speed, but you absolutely can build a game around consistency. You absolutely can build a reliable distance profile. You absolutely can improve your dispersion. May not be tour level, but you can improve it. And honestly, most golfers would lower scores dramatically if they simply stopped pretending they were longer and more accurate than they actually are. That's why playing the right tees matters. And I know some golfers hate hearing that, but ego tees are one of the biggest score killers in golf. Golf becomes exponentially harder when every approach shot is longer than it should be. You force long irons, you increase dispersion, you create stress, you short side yourself. Meanwhile, the golfer playing from the correct tee box, now they have wedges in. Now they have manageable approach shots. Now they can actually score. That's smart golf. And smart golf travels under pressure. Now let me connect this to something that completely changed the way I practice and play, because honestly, I used to practice the exact wrong way. I think most golfers do. You go to the range, you rake ball after ball, you hit driver as hard as possible, you chase one good shot, but you leave feeling productive. But nothing actually transfers. That's why getting the RAPSODO MLM2 Pro completely changed things for me. And no, this is not about becoming obsessed with numbers. It's actually the opposite. The RAPSODO helped me stop obsessing over one number: distance. Because once you actually start tracking your shots, you realize scoring in golf is about patterns, dispersion, carry consistency, club gapping, start lines, shot tendencies. That's real golf. And this is where amateur golfers get trapped. They think launch monitors are only for speed training, but the biggest thing it helped me understand was my full bag framework, what every club can do. Meaning, what shot shows up consistently? What carry number can I trust? Where does my miss go? What clubs overlap? What yardages create discomfort for me? Because confidence doesn't come from motivation. Confidence comes from evidence. That's the difference. When you step into a shot and know your 8-iron carries 145 consistently, that changes everything. Now your brain stops guessing. Now your targets improve. Now your course management improves. Now your pressure handling improves. And this is what I think golfers completely misunderstand about launch monitors. They're not just speed toys. They're awareness tools. And awareness lowers scores. Because before I started really tracking things, I realized I was lying to myself. I thought certain clubs went farther than they actually did. I thought my dispersion was tighter than it really was. I thought certain misses were random when they were actually patterns. And once you see patterns, you can actually improve. That's what tour players do. That's what good golfers do. That's what Aaron Rai did all week. Predictability, not perfection. Here's the crazy part. Most golfers spend almost all of their practice time trying to create shots they almost never hit. The perfect drive, the perfect iron, the perfect swing. But golf isn't played with perfect shots. It's played with manageable misses. That's a huge difference. And honestly, that's why tour golf frustrates so many amateurs. Because golfers watch Rory hit a towering 340-yard drive and think that's the blueprint. But the blueprint for scoring is usually much simpler. Keep the ball in play, manage spin, control carry distances, avoid penalty shots, know your tendencies. That's why Aaron Rai succeeding is such an important story, because it proves there are multiple ways to play elite golf. You don't need to become someone else. You need to maximize your profile. That's the entire idea behind the distance profile that we're building. Every golfer has a profile. Some golfers are longer but wild. Some are accurate but shorter. Some are strong wedge players. Some are elite putters. The mistake golfers make is trying to play a style that doesn't match their profile. That's where the frustration is. That's where inconsistency comes from. And honestly, that's where wasted practice comes from. Because golfers are practicing for the golfer they want to be instead of the golfer they currently are. And improving starts the moment you stop fighting that reality. Now, I know some golfers are going to ask, do I need a launch monitor? No. But I do think golfers need feedback, real feedback, not emotional feedback. Not, I think I hit that one good, actual data. And honestly, there are now really good options depending on what you want. For me, the RAPSODO MLM2 Pro has been huge because it gives me a more complete picture. You're getting carry numbers, dispersion, shot tracking, spin data, video integration, club gapping, practice tracking, and for golfers trying to build a real distance profile, that matters because it turns random practice into intentional practice. Instead of smashing 100 balls mindlessly, now you're actually building trust in your game. But I also know not everybody wants to spend big money on technology. The RAPSODO MLM2 Pro is very fairly priced and very accurate in comparison to much more expensive launch monitors. But if $700 is still too high, plus you have to add the annual subscription, there's new options. And honestly, that's why I think the ShotScope LM1 is really interesting. I haven't gotten my hands on one yet, but I plan to. Especially at around $200, it's worth it. Now, it's not giving you the same level of advanced tracking or detailed information as the MLM2 Pro. But for golfers who simply need reliable carry distances and a better understanding of their game, it's a really solid entry point, and honestly, even basic awareness is better than guessing. You can get either of these by going to playbetter.com/golfreboot, because most golfers are making real decisions with almost no real information. That's why they're constantly between clubs. That's why they're shocked by short misses. That's why their on-course confidence disappears. The better your information becomes, the simpler golf gets. Not easier, simpler, and there's a difference. So when I was watching the PGA Championship, I didn't just see a leaderboard, I saw proof that modern golf has convinced amateurs to chase the wrong things. Everybody wants speed, everybody wants distance, everybody wants to look like a tour player. But the golfers who actually improve, they build trust in their game. They know their game. They understand their distance profiles. They practice intentionally. They stop letting ego control decisions. And honestly, Aaron Rai is the perfect reminder of that. 2 gloves, iron covers, structured routines, not one of the longest hitters in the field by far. And yet he outplayed some of the best players on earth on one of the toughest stages in golf because control scales, predictability scales, smart golf scales. That's the lesson. And if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Stop building your game around your best shots. Start building your game around your most trusted shots. That's how scores drop. That's how pressure decreases. And honestly, that's how golf becomes way more enjoyable. If this video helped you rethink the way you practice, make sure you subscribe to Golf Reboot so you see more of our videos. Because this channel is not about chasing perfect golf. It's about building a golf game that actually survives on the course. And if you haven't watched the rest of the Full Bag Framework series, go watch that next. It's popping up now because that's where this system starts. And comment questions down below. We'll work on answering them on our next live on Monday at 4 p.m. Remember, our goal at Golf Reboot is to help you in 2026 so that we can all play better, have more fun, and love the game again. See you next time.